Hello everyone, Michael Gray here from Michael Gray Fitness and the Diabetic Trainer. I want to tell you about my Tuesday a couple of days ago. So I was doing some overhead pressing, some heavier overhead pressing. And for some of you, you may know that I'm trying to get to a place where I can press 185 pounds over my head for a single rep. My current best is 160, so I'm trying to get up quite a bit heavier than that, 25 more pounds. But anyway, so I was doing some heavy overhead pressing. I got up to 155, I think 150, 155, and thought, I'm going to try to go for 165 and just see what things feel like. And so I got all jacked up and keyed up and got the bar off the rack and went to press it, and it went nowhere. And I was pissed off and frustrated and upset with myself, and because I failed my attempt, right? So that could be the end of my story, is that I didn't get it, and that's it. Or I can look at, well, okay, I didn't get it, so what can I learn from this? And what I can learn from that is a couple of things. One, it was a dumb day to try to do a PR. I mean, I just wasn't feeling that great. The bar wasn't moving that quick. I just got in my head about it and decided it was a good idea, and I wasn't listening to my body, and I should have. That's the biggest thing. I also didn't rest that long in between my sets. I was more fatigued than I should have been. I should have rested a couple more minutes to really give it a good shot. I just kind of rushed the whole process. And so there are things that I learned from that to take with me the next time, right? Because here's the thing about quote unquote failure, is that when you fail, you really have two options. You can just accept it as failure, and okay, well, I screwed that up, and so I abandoned that, and I'm upset with myself, and I beat myself up, and I get all frustrated, and that's sort of the end of the story. Or you can look at failure as not an ending point, but a point to learn a lesson. Because I really believe that almost all of the time, failure is really an opportunity to learn something, and usually it's something you're going to have to learn before you move on to the next phase in your journey. Okay, I think a lot of times where people fail, they tend to fail with the same kind of things over and over and over, and it's because they reach a point where they need to learn something more to progress, but they continue to not learn the lesson. They continue to just accept failure, as opposed to an opportunity to go, okay, so why isn't this working? So every time I do this, this happens. What's with that? What's going on there? And learn a lesson that you need to learn to move on to the next step of your journey. Because there are going to be a lot of lessons that you have to learn along your journey, whether it's weight loss or fat loss or strength gain, body recomposition, whatever it is. There are going to be a lot of lessons that you have to learn to make things habits. And if you don't learn those lessons, you're going to keep failing in the same spots over and over and over. So I think it's important to failure isn't failure. Failure isn't an endpoint. It's like an alert. It's a notification, like, hey, okay, this didn't work. Look at why it didn't work. What went wrong? Because probably the case isn't you can't do this. And I think that's what we do with failure a lot, is we fail and we go, well, I can't do that. Just not for me, I guess. That's not the notification. The notification is learn something. Look at what's going wrong. What are the habits? What are the trends? Why does this thing keep not working out for you? Because it's probably not the thing. You probably need a different approach. You probably need to be more strategic. You probably need to look at some of your limiting factors. What's going on? So look at failure that way. Failure isn't an endpoint. It's a point to learn something you probably have to learn before you go to the next step in your journey. So anytime you feel like you failed, look at all the circumstances around it. What really happened? What could you have done the night before? Or how could you have set yourself up a little better? Or how could you have had more support? Or how could you have had some more guidance? Or all of those things, because there's probably something you need to learn. And when you do learn it, then you can move on to the next phase. And that's a really, really good thing.